1804 to 1860, it says there. But you know how I always like the stories kind of past the page of history of them. He had a long affair with Madame Hugo, and he was very good friends with Victor Hugo in English, en anglais. Victor Hugo, they were very good friends. And then he started an affair with his wife that lasted quite a long time, but they kind of at that point were understanding, because that is when Victor was also in his very long 50-year relationship as well of his own. So it wasn't really much of a secret. But he actually lived just right on the Cour de Commerce, which is that cute little street that's just runs between Boulevard Saint-Germain and Saint-André des Arts, right there on the edge going into Odillon. That really lovely little street with its own grim past with the guillotine. But look at all these gorgeous orange poppies. We're going to see these poppies in a couple different colors, but they are so pretty. They just look like they're made of just crepe paper. I'm in trance for too long. Too many words I'm just now diverting to. So we'll head over here. We're going to head around the edge. And then I'm going to take you in somewhere special, because we're doing this on a Saturday. It is the day before Easter. And so we could go into this place without something going on. So it's kind of cool. This is the Pavillon d'Avaux. It was created by, I never get this little button wrong. This was created by Gabriel Devaux, and he was actually also one that a lot of the stuff that was redone in Paris under Haussmann, he did. So he did the Fontaine Saint-Michel, he did the Chaillot column that's over there next to the Comedy. This lovely one that we see from behind, and look at all those gorgeous tulips. Here, I'll get in here. All those really pretty purple and yellow. And they're so good how they do these here. They're all like, all the colors go together, and like you kind of have the same theme throughout the garden, but not, which is great. This is the famille, like the Joie de Famille. And a lot of these are added. This one was added in 1888. But a lot of these, that's when most of these are added, but there are going to be some I'm going to show you that were added even before that. So when Louis Philippe was in power, he extended the size of the Jardin de Luxembourg, and then they added all of these statues in here. I see some lilacs. And this right here, this is the ruche. This is, or the apiary, depending on what you want to call it. They call it the ruche here. And that's last year's date. So this is one of the oldest beekeeping schools in France, and it has been here since 1856. And you can see in there, and it disappeared for a short period of time in 1866 under Haussmann, how rude of him, and then came back in 1871, and they still use it as a beekeeping school. In fact, the Pavillon d'Avaux is part of that, so they use it for that. But every year in September, and on this sign it just said the date for 2022. Every year in September, it's usually sometimes it falls on Patrimoine weekend. This last year it was a weekend after, and they sell the honey. So the honey that is used, that is created here in the garden by these very happy bees, just past where we started. If you just kind of look straight up through here where the fence is, those are all apple and pear orchards. And there's a few of them that are extremely old that are here in the garden, and then all the flowers here, and they don't allow pesticides. And so you know that all of these guys are so happy, all these little bees. But the day that they sell the honey, people line up hours early, and they limit you to two jars per person. And obviously you saw how much was there, so it's not like they're making a ton, but I have missed it. Last year, I think every year I've been busy and I haven't been able to make it over there, but I'm going to put those 2 Saturdays in September that I could possibly be on my calendar to get some of the Luxembourg honey. What I would really love is to get some of the Notre Dame honey. That would be pretty great. So we're going to kind of wing around here. This is where somebody comes to here a lot. This is the petanque courts. You have everything here in the left. Everything that you would want to do, you could do here in the garden, pretty much. This is a fantastic petanque court, and these guys aren't messing around. These guys are really serious petanque players, but they're also really nice. You can sit here for hours and just watch them. You wouldn't want to just roll in there and ask for them to teach you how to play. Oh, look at, I love that guy. He had like a magnet on there so you didn't have to bend down. I think those are the serious players that have the magnet. I've played a couple times. It's really fun. See, isn't the state just gorgeous? Where's it going? This way. And it's a sunny day, and so everybody's out. It's a Saturday, holiday weekend. Some people had Friday off, but not sunny days. I think in England it's a holiday, but it's not here, Good Friday, but they all get Monday off. But it doesn't impact things like museums, and like banks will be closed and some businesses will be closed, but it doesn't, museums are still open. A lot of museums are even open tomorrow. It has been insane this week with people, visitors. I have never seen the line for the USA go down the steps and down the block and along the quay. The Louvre, the line has been all the way through and back to the Port Carré. Look at those gorgeous flowers here. I'll zoom in here for you. All purples and tulips. Wait till you see, I have tulip earrings on too for the occasion. But this is Arcadima. And this one goes back to 1887, even though he doesn't look to be in the best shape there. He looks like he's getting a little weathered, poor guy. And I think I just walked past. Yes, turn around. Can't forget this guy. Who doesn't love him? Chopin. Zoom out for you so you could see him a little better. There he is. This was actually put here in 1908. It was a gift from Poland. And then for the 50th anniversary, and it was taken and melted down during World War II by the Vichy government. And then later on, Poland sent a copy in 1948. So they returned it. So Chopin is here, kind of nestled. Wouldn't it be cool? They just had a little speaker and it just played Chopin. Just like the little tinkling of Chopin and champagne. Maybe they could do that. Maybe there's a way you could do it so you could have a little spout dispersing champagne, but only for those in the know. The secret. I'd only tell you guys. Somebody over here, I think, needs no introduction. Excuse me, you're not supposed to be on the grass, kid. People off the grass. I see sometimes people walking out there to get closer to a statue, and I really want to do that, but I am too scared to do it. I'm too scared I'd get in trouble. It took me even longer than normal to walk up here today because there are so many people out. It is, the temperature, it's like 60 degrees and sunny, and you can't really get much better than that. So you guys know her. Oh, well, if you could see her head. Look at, I did the button the right way. There she is. Liberty leading the people. I wish that was Delacroix. Liberty lighting the world is her actual name. You know, where's the Statue of Liberty? And on her tablet there, it says November 15th, 1889. That's actually when she was inaugurated. That's the difference between the ones you see here and then the one you see in New York. The one in New York, of course, says July 4th, but the one here says November 15th, 1889. And hopefully you could even see that with the sun right in her way. Let me try to move to the side. Maybe. Oh, nope. See, I got it once. Didn't do it the right time. But this, so she used to not be here. So, and this is not the original one that was here. The one that was the original one that was here in the garden is now in the Orsay, right when you walk down and into the main section. This one was just added here in 2002. It was changed out. And where she used to sit closer to the Musée de Luxembourg. And when Hemingway lived here, so after he and Hadley separated, Hadley was still living. If you went to the left of me, you'd be up towards, you'd go up closer towards Montparnasse and where they actually lived when they came back after Bambi was born. And then when they decided to separate, she was still living up just right on the same street. And then he was over here down on Rue de Four with Pauline. And so he would sometimes walk through the garden and he would go to the Statue of Liberty, kind of like, you know, some people go, like I always, when I go to churches, I always walk up and leave a candle at Jeanne d'Arc or Saint Geneviève. And so he would kind of do that with the Statue of Liberty because he wasn't really religious at all. And she was kind of his saint. And so he'd come to her and think, you know, should I be doing this? Maybe I should go back to the States. And he'd kind of have his little moment speaking to her, and then everything would be fine. And he would stay in France for a little bit longer. But she was pretty great. But you know, I did say liberty leading the people because you know what? You know who inspired this statue? That's right, Delacroix. Because all roads lead to Delacroix. The Delacroix's Liberty Leading the People, hanging in the Musée du Louvre, of course, is where Bartoli, we used to go in there and he would see that painting, and that's what inspired him for the shape of the Statue of Liberty. Right next to it, that poor sickly little tree, is a American oak tree, and that was given to the Luxembourg and to Paris by the Americans that were in Paris at the time, living here in when 9/11 happened. So this one is, but I don't think it's really so good. It's not doing so good here. I don't think an American oak really survives too well here because it never really looks so good. So hopefully it'll be fine. Oh, did you guys hear? Those scooters are going away. Scooters are going away September 1st. It was voted on. I don't know if that means if people own them. I think it's just all the rental ones go away. I know a few people that actually have them, own them, and use them to get to work and such. I have to come over here because this smells, they're not fully blooming yet, but that smells heavenly. This guy right here with all of those beautiful tulips. I love tulips. My favorite tulips are the white tulips. I kind of like all white flowers. White flowers are my favorite. But look at this. Did you get a more beautiful day? This is a statue of Branly and Edward Branly. This was done by Charles Sarabouzes, and he was a scientist. You might know of the Quai Branly and also the museum that's the Musée Branly. It was named after this guy. He was a scientist and a physicist and a professor, and he designed and discovered the first wireless telegraphy. Sometimes my French, it makes, I can't say words anymore, but that's him. And so the Quai Branly, the Musée de Branly, is also now the Musée Branly Jacques Chirac after he died. And that one is all of like primitive art because Jacques Chirac loved primitive art. So that's what's in there. I still have yet to go into that one. I need to go into there, but it's not always in the top of my list, but I need to go do that. I have no excuse now since I have all the time. Even I still kind of think that I have deadlines of things of going to see things, but of course, if it's holidays or what have you, it is. But I'm not leaving. I'm here. I'm here forever. I'm not leaving. So we're gonna make our way. We're gonna keep just weaving through all these little paths. I saw the ponies going by. My friend Sylvain brought his sweet little Lexi here just a little bit ago. She loves the ponies, the Shetland ponies. I had a Shetland pony. There were a touchy subject in my family with my mother. I just recently told my friend Chrissy about my sweet buttercup. She's probably laughing. So look at these. But we're getting too close to the pink ones. And I love some pink. After I love red, I love some pink. So this here, surrounded by all these pink, beautiful, there's hyacinths and all sorts of good stuff and tulips. I am not a horticulturist by any scope of the imagination. And I am going to go buy some red geraniums to put in my window. And we're just going to see how long those are going to last. But they're usually pretty hardy. But other than that, there's not many flowers that I know which ones I like, should we say. But this monument here is for Paul Verlaine. And Paul Verlaine, it was a writer and a poet, very beloved here in France. I love the stories of him and Arthur Rimbaud. Paul Verlaine was married, and the very young poet, Arthur Rimbaud, came up to visit him in Paris after Paul encouraged him to come up here because this is where, the intellectual writers were, and, he could just do so much more if he was here and surrounded by that community. And so he came up here, and then the two of them had a little attraction and became involved. And then they left because that wasn't okay to be out in the open here. And they left, and then his wife chased after him and made him come back. And then he'd be back for a little bit, and they'd go back and forth. And it went on for a couple of years, and to the point where he figured the only way to end it was to shoot Arthur. And he shot him in the wrist, and he, of course, survived. But Paul went to jail for 2 years. But I also recently learned that he had another lover as well. There was another writer, which I'll have to share for another time. Go, Paul. But this monument is to him. You could see how these poor things are just not doing so good in the weather here. They're just, if there are statues in the Louvre, like in the Cour Marly, that, those statues used to be outside, and also the Cour Puget, but the Marly, because those were in fountains, they're just really, really damaged. But you can see here how it's just kind of getting almost like, just the texture's getting really rough, and it wasn't always that way. Let's go see some pink, some beautiful pink ones. I did see some massive peonies today, and there was one on the path on the ground, and I picked it up, rescued it, but it was in my bag for about 4 or 5 more hours as I walked around before I got home. I don't know if I could save it. So here, this one always, whenever I bring tours to here, this one always gets people's attention because it's pretty funny. And I look at this and I don't know who to feel the worst for. But look at these. Look at all of those. I think this one is, I think, my favorite. But look at how it has those cute little tiny coral poppies in there. But look at those, the colors of this pink. It's just like this pink, beautiful pink carpet. So this statue here is the Triomphe de Ceylon and the Triumph of Ceylon, and he is a relative of Bacchus, as you could probably guess. And the poor guy is very drunk, and he has all of these different, I'll try to come on this side and go and then swing around to the other side. But they're trying to hoist him up on this donkey. And they just look miserable. Look at this poor guy back here. I mean, he's up there drunk as a skunk, having the time of his life. And those poor people, also, you would normally be hoisting somebody up on their donkey while you're naked. I mean, that's a given. But this was done by Jules Dalou in 1885. And Jules Dalou did many, many statues and monuments around Paris, including ones of Louis XIV. Let's pass these people here. Cute little guy. We're going to rise into the sun here again, so you might not be able to see much. But I took some really beautiful pictures of all these things this one. But they are, there's so many. That one is hilarious because you could tell it is Bacchus, and they just are that they just, I feel bad for those poor people in a sculpture. And I'm sure it's the fact that he's happy on all the wine. He's probably not very cooperative when it comes to getting hoisted up there. This one is one that we don't have to think about for a while, because this statue is Winter, Hiver. And she's got all those pretty little pale pink roses or tulips. It makes me think of steel magnolias. My two favorite colors are blush and beige. My favorite colors are red and red. There's somebody. But it is a really, usually Winter is always an old man. So if you see the ones that are in the Louvre or in the Tuileries, it's always kind of this old man, because it's also, the seasons also represent stages of life. So when it's cold and it's winter, apparently that's when you're old. So I'm glad that there's no date range on that one. Okay, cruise over this way. This right here, this little beauty, is a Wallace fountain. He actually designed 4 different ones. His only wall-mounted one that is left is over by the Jardin des Plantes. Oh, let me zoom back out here. Oops. But that is a Wallace fountain. Most people think it's just the cool ones with the ladies, the 4 ladies. Okay, now we're coming up here, and hopefully I can get close to them, that there's not a ton of people here, because these, what we're about to see, is gorgeous. You have in there another statue messenger. And over here on the orangerie, you have, this was actually the orangerie of the palace. And right now, that is where all the trees are that should be coming out here any day now. It has been really cold in the morning. It's been getting down to freezing. So they're probably waiting a little bit, because this is where all of the orange trees are and the palm trees. And soon they're going to be coming out. But up there on top is a bunch of artists, including my favorite. But I'm going to save him for one we're going to do in a few weeks. But look at this. Look at all of these. Emily's here. But look at how gorgeous. These are actually, they looked a little bit better. Excuse me, that's not where you're supposed to go, sir. Oh, kids ball. These looked a little bit better 2 days ago. They're getting a little, but look at how cool they are. They were a little bit more reddish orangey color, but all poppies and big French tulips. I love those French tulips, the big, huge ones. Oh, look at, he's got his boat. We're gonna walk by that because I can't come here. That lady have her tacos? I mean, anything goes in Paris. I don't think she, but I can't. We're gonna, of course, walk out by these Fontaines de Medici that still, they don't have their, they haven't put the spring flowers in the pots yet, but this should be soon. I'll keep an eye on it and I'll let you guys know. Also, I'm pretty sure in Patreon, I have all your email addresses, but if I don't, because I'm going to start sending a specific Patreon version of my newsletter to you each week as well. So have the link. I did this on Zoom today, but I'm really hoping to do it on YouTube. And I did a bunch of tests the other day with a couple of friends, but depending on where I was, depended on if the link worked. So, but it's really great because the picture is even clear. It's really fantastic. So I'm hopefully going to get that figured out. So we could do it on that for next week and from now on. And then these will be available to you to view on YouTube exclusively for a couple weeks. And then eventually I'll change it so everybody can see it. But you guys will get this only for you for 2 weeks, these 2 weeks. So this, I just actually discovered this a few months ago, and they changed out the flowers here as well. And this is a special remembrance for 7 individuals that were killed during the liberation of Paris that worked for the garden. So the garden itself is overseen by the Senate, which is what is in the Palais de Luxembourg. But the other last time in the fall, these were all huge, like bright red mums. They were gorgeous. On the 19th of August, 1941. 7 heroes of the resistance. So we want to go down here because there's more gorgeousness. You have, do you want to see the tulips? Or let's go show you the tulips from here. We'll go around the top. I can show you because we all love the boats. So look at those. The line, let me zoom in for you. The other side's even better though. Look at that. This is, you guys all know what this is, but this is the Palais de Luxembourg. Built by my birthday buddy, Marie de Medici. And she built this because she missed her home in Florence. So she wanted something to remind her of that. So she had this built after Henry IV died. So they started building this in 1614. She didn't really get to ever see it fully finished because her constant battle with her son, Louis XIII, always at odds with each other because she was a little bit power hungry and controlling. So they have up here on this side. Doing it's in landscape does have its. So you could see here. So we have you guys all know these girls too, the 20 illustrious women in French history. Just going to show you a couple as we walk by. I have done videos of all of these ones that you can find on YouTube, and I'll put a link to those as well. But this is Saint Clotilde. Saint Clotilde is the wife of Clovis. She was a very good friend of Saint Geneviève. And when Geneviève died, she was the one who wrote all the stories about her. And the only reason we know so much about Geneviève is because of Clotilde. Also, random fact, spell check in Microsoft Word used to always want to change my name from Claudine to Clotilde because Clotilde seems to be much more common. I don't think so. Marguerite de Provence. She was a wife of Louis IX, Saint Louis. She was very pious and very religious. And so Blanche de Castille, his mother, loved that idea. And then she couldn't control her. She wanted to control everything. But she and Louis IX were actually very much in love. It was not a thing that happened a lot of times in the monarchy. Then we have Anne de Breton. She was a wife of Charles VIII. And then after that, she became the wife of Louis XII because it was written into her dowry that if he dies, if Charles VIII dies, then she marries Louis. It was very strange. We did 2 podcasts about these ladies too. So you could actually come here, and I did it so they were all in order. And so it's about 40 minutes of each side. So there's 10 on each side of their stories. And you could just basically put it in and listen to it and just go from one to the other. Did that a couple of years ago during COVID. And if you watched last week, we just had our 150th episode. So that's really exciting. And our 3-year anniversary is going to be coming up here. Anne d'Autriche, Anne of Austria, wife of Louis XIII, mother of Louis XIV, who created many of the beautiful churches of Paris. You can see, oh, you know what? See straight over there, see that dome? She is placed, so she is looking at the dome of Val de Grace. I just noticed that. How lovely is that? I love it when they actually, they did that on purpose, I'm sure of it. On the far end, the last one, and we're gonna go down here so we can walk by the very, very busy basin. But the very far end of this one is Marie de Medici, and she's looking back at her palace. So they don't do anything by accident here. This gal right here is Juno, depending on which language. She is the queen of the gods. The ones that surround the basin here, or this lower part, are all the ancient statues of the Luxembourg. These go all the way back to 1803. Minerva is up here as well. Oh man, you guys, I should have brought a bottle of rosé with cheese. We could have just hung out here. It's probably a little too early for you guys to have rosé, but it's a holiday weekend. 5 o'clock someplace. But these ones all were here long ago. But there's a basin. People aren't supposed to be sitting on it. I'm going to get a moonlighting job of being the enforcer in the parks and in the Louvre. Bossing people around, telling them what they can't do that. You have to be careful when you come here because those kids with the sticks, I've gotten nailed a few times in the ones to the back of the head and ones to the back of the leg. There's actually not many boats out here today, considering how many people are here. But the boats, I love the boats. The boats go back to the early first quarter of the 19th century, and they actually are the same family. So there was a gentleman that had a little shop that he made these boats, and he thought, hey, they have these basins in the park, maybe I could rent my boats out because people were coming to buy his boats. And so he contacted the Senate, and the Senate said sure. And it's now the 3rd generation. And they say that some of the boats are the same. And he would carve the boats and paint them and everything, and his wife would sew the sails on them. But I mean, it'd be pretty cool if some of them are the same. Look there's some seagulls, 2 seagulls. That's my grandparents right there. You don't know, my grandpa always said he was going to come back as a seagull. And seagulls always pop up just the perfect moment when I need them at times. These, I don't think these flowers on this side are quite that spectacular yet. The yellow and the reddish orange. We need more pink. But that's what's mostly around this whole entire area. And then we're going to go over here and we will walk by, see how quickly we could get down to. We're going to go, I'm going to take you into San Francisco, which I've spent an incredible amount of time at this last few days for Holy Week. I am not Catholic, but I love to just go in there when they're doing the holiday mass and sit there. I was there on Thursday night. I went in there yesterday. I just made it as they were walking into the church for the way of the cross. They started it at the Pont Saint Michel at 12, and then walked to Saint Sulpice, and I just missed it. Okay, there's not any sun on this, but I think this is my favorite. Look at this. Look at these. These are gorgeous. Look at all. Let me see if the sun's not on it, but they're all red and like a beautiful lipstick red with those white edges on it. I need dozens of those. I love tulips. Tulips are always that thing that you just know it's spring when you start to see those for sale. You have the Greek actor up there, along with the Pantheon. This morning I went all over the place. I walked through the Jardin des Plantes. I went to the mosque. I went up to the top of Mont Saint Michel or Saint Geneviève. I went into Saint Etienne du Mont, here through the garden, into Saint Sulpice. I did about 7 miles this morning without stopping. I just kept going, or not sitting down, I should say. And here, of course, we have the lovely. So I've had a few people that get upset because they don't like how clean it is, but it is. They empty it out and they clean the basin every couple months, and then it literally in a matter of days gets dirt. It gets all yucky down there again. But look at this, and they're just starting to get some little buds on these branches, but we don't have any flowers in the pots yet, but we will soon. Little bridal photo shoot. This is one of my favorite places to come sit because it's always just the perfect light. They are working on the Palais de Luxembourg here, and they're starting on this side. They'll do eventually the other side. It's supposed to take probably at least 2 to 3 years, they said, to do this. So be prepared. But this is how we have nice things. I don't always love it, and it bums me out when people come and this is something they really wanted to see, and it's all, you have all that ugly white plastic up there, but that's how we keep things nice, and it could last even longer. It's already from the early 17th century, and we're in the 21st, 22nd. What are we in? 21st? But I like it when they cover it up with, they cover it up and it looks like what's the building behind it, which is always really cool because then it doesn't stick out quite as much like a sore thumb up there, that it's not this ugly monstrosity. Now we're going to get down to Saint Sulpice, see if we could do this I could take you in there in the next 17 or so minutes. Hey, we did this one day. We went from the Louvre up to here and around, and all points in between an hour. We could do it. We're not that far. Theatre de l'Odéon with its bullet holes back there from World War II. It was Sarah Bernhardt who, there is a special exhibition opening up this week at the Petit Palais, dedicated to Sarah Bernhardt, who, look at that color. She was, of course, one of the first international stars. Rachel Felix, actress Rachel Felix, was actually the very first French actress, international star. But Sarah Bernhardt became huge. And most people know, everybody knows Sarah. Have not heard about Rachel, but Sarah not only was an actress, but she was also an artist. And so she was a sculptor. And a few years ago, there was one of her pieces, one of her sculptures, a bust at this exhibit. It came through Portland. Byron and watching still. We saw that, which was kind of cool. But the exhibit's going to be really great because it's going to have her art and her costumes. She performed at all the different theaters in Paris, and she would move to different ones because she tipped them off, because she also had a pretty bad temper, including one time she bashed a security guard on the head with her umbrella, and she got in big trouble for that. And then she bought him a house, so I'm sure he forgave her, but she kind of kept wearing out her welcome, even though, she was a box office smash, and they loved the ticket sales, but she was a little bit difficult to deal with. So she would kind of move from one of her contracts was up. She'd say, "Forget you, I'm going to a different one." And so she was at the Théâtre de l'Odéon, which is the largest theater on the left bank. And she was there when the siege of Prussia happened. And so she ended up turning the theater into a hospital and taking care of wounded soldiers. And when they ran out of coal, they started burning the set and furniture, anything else. And then once the Prussians got even closer into the neighborhood, she took all of them and put them up in a hotel, and some of them in her home to take care of them. So she was a pretty amazing lady. But later in life, she fell off of the stage one day, and she hurt her knee, and she just let it go. She just ignored it. And they were worried when World War I started. They were worried because she was such a high profile person. The French government was worried that she was going to be kidnapped and held for ransom. And so they had her leave Paris, and she would stay out of Paris in a chateau. And that's when her leg got even worse, and she couldn't ignore it anymore. They actually had to amputate her leg. But nobody ever knew when she was on stage, because she would either sit down. Oh, hello, little French bulldog. She would sit or lean on something for her scenes. And so nobody in the audience ever knew that she was hurt. How precious is this little street? So this street, if you watched Sex and the City when it was actually good as the original show, not a fan of the new one, even though I still watch it. But once it killed Mr. Big Off, not okay. Anyway, this little street is where she is when she steps in dog do and the kid hits her on the head. But in this building right here, oh darn, I'm gonna figure this thing. I'm gonna put like draws on Sharpies, which way I need to do this. So here in this building is where Aunt de Gauche, and I'm probably saying her last name wrong, but she lived here in this building. And she was an amazing, amazing woman. She was another one of those ladies that was married. Her husband died, and she did not get remarried, even though she had many offers. She did not get remarried because, as a widow, you had more rights. You could work. She was a writer. You could actually do things that, as a widow, that you could not do as a woman. Look at this. So I love this little place because it's all frames, but look at, I didn't see what was in these pictures. So on Rue de Four, just a street over, is the huge mural that is the Drunken Boat by Arthur Rimbaud. And look at these cool, this was obviously the artist that did it. I love this place because it's just frames, and you know I love frames. Those are cool. I'll have to see what the guy's name is. But we are gonna go. Okay, look at this, guys. We did it in like 5 minutes. This is a fantastic restaurant, Le Bon Saint Cafe. Angela, you guys should come here. This street, Savon-Dolny, is named after the architect of the amazing piece. And this from the outside, this is a fun thing to share because a little over 4 years ago, about 4 years ago and a couple weeks, some turkey lit this door on fire. So we are on the south side of Saint-Sulpice, and this beautiful door we could go into has been all completely redone. And you can see how white the stone is there. So they did this actually pretty quick. I mean, I think they started in the fall, they had it completely covered up. And now, look at this. Oh. Like, could this day be any more beautiful? I am going straight to a terrace. When we're done, I've got some notes to make to record the podcast tomorrow. And so look at this. It's like all brand new and gorgeous. Yes. Looks so good. But they're not, there's not a mass until 9 o'clock tonight. So I thought we'd come in here. I'm gonna come in here. I was in here the other day at 7:30 in the morning. It was empty. So I'm gonna come in here, I think, and make a video detailing every little part of this for you Patreons. Because I don't like to disrupt people if they're praying or if there's mass going on. So I will come in here some morning. Look at how beautiful that is over there. And do a little video here for you. Oh, and I don't have any change with me. But the lights are out. And they cover a lot of things. They cover the crosses until tomorrow. And here's my girl. This is Joan of Arc. I always leave a candle for her every time I come in here. I think I only, let's see, we could leave a candle. I'll leave a candle for all of you guys. In case there's somebody, I have €5, so I'll get a couple of candles and save one, put one up after. And then I get $5 worth of candles here. Is that gonna go in there? I think we could do 2 of these. Here. In case there's anybody that you guys want to. I don't want to catch my sleeve on fire. You guys want to say a little prayer or wish for somebody? There's a candle for you. See where I could put another one. It's busy here on Holy Week. There's another one. I always leave one for that gendarme. And I have one more. My big one. Oh man. I might need. I might have to try to light this a different way. And I might be. Oh, there we go. Oh, got a red one, of course. Anybody you want to say a little prayer for? I think today, I spent about 14 euros in candles because I always want to, anytime I come in and there's Jeanne d'Arc or Genevieve, I always leave a candle. I'm going to just pop in here. It's so dark in the chapels. It's a little hard to show you anything, but let's see if I can kind of shimmy behind here a little bit without catching myself on fire. Because this one, they're slowly restoring everything. And this one, put my bag down. This one, it's a chapel of purgatory. You can see, very fitting, Pietà up there. And this chapel was done all by the artist Ein, and it was supposed to have actually been done by Ingres though. And Ingres was commissioned to do this, and then he was not able to, so they recommissioned. But you could see if I could go all the way up, if it lets me. This one has been fully restored, so absolutely in gorgeous condition right now. And they're slowly redoing them, all of them. The other side, the north side, is not looking great. It really needs some help. It's just also years and years of soot and everything else that gets on it. Starts to really wear and tear on the. But of course, we have over here my favorite, Delacroix. And I'll save that for a couple weeks, because then when it's close to our birthday, I'm going to do a special one that weekend, all for my birthday buddies. Here. Saint-Sulpice is, of course, the second biggest church in Paris after Notre Dame. Look at this day. How gorgeous it is. So make sure you guys are muted, just so it doesn't, it will change the video. But look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous day here at Place Saint-Sulpice. The fountain, when it's a sunny day, there is only a few spots in Paris that are more beautiful than this. When the sun is on that fountain, show you look at us trying to shield the sun a little bit so it doesn't wash out the view. But look at that. Come on. Why can't you work with me? Just gorgeous. That's our little pre-Easter. Thanks for joining me, guys, on a Saturday. I hope that worked for you. I was thinking about doing them on Saturdays for now on. We'll do the special one next week, but with my schedule, I think it's harder. I will be working a lot coming up here, starting the week after this. It gets very busy. So Saturdays, I think, will be harder to keep consistent. And I want to keep this as consistent as possible, unless I'm going to be out of town in doing some tours that I'm doing outside of Paris. But there's only a few of those this year. And so I just want to thank you guys so much. Here, I'll turn around and say hi, so you can all see how cute my tulip earrings are. It was a Zara special. Cute. They had these pieces that made the stems longer that were hanging down, and they were a little much, so I just broke them off. But thank you guys so much. I'm wearing my pink coat too. You know what I did notice here? I used to work in retail. I used to work at a huge Northwest retail chain for well over 10 years. And I managed the kids department. And so every year, you know, we'd have this whole collection of all the Easter clothes that we'd get in. But, you know, that's not something they have here. Like, there's not, you see all of like the windows and stuff getting ready for spring, but it's not like, make sure you get your Easter outfits. So I think maybe because they just always look good here. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I just noticed that the other day. It's something I pondered. So, but thank you guys so much for joining me today. I appreciate all your support so much. And I can't wait till next week, because I cannot wait to share Notre Dame and also all of the great things that are going on there. There's two really cool things coming up, and there are already going on in Paris that have to do with the restoration of Notre Dame you could visit. And then one that's going to be coming up later this year at my favorite place in the world. And so the two, combining the two, that Notre Dame and the Louvre will be combined together. Can't get much better than that. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Easter. I'm going to pop over here again tomorrow morning. I was trying to figure out where the Archbishop was, because usually he's at Saint Eustache or here tomorrow, because I wanted to see, you know, I wanted to go where the big guy was, but I can't find anything where he is. Maybe he's back in Rome. Maybe he's there making sure that the bells should be flying back as we speak, getting ready to dump their chocolate on us. So I'm going to come here tomorrow. So I'll take some videos as much as I can where it's appropriate, and I will post those and share those. And then maybe I'll even make it, because I know some of you guys aren't on Instagram, and so I don't want you guys to miss out, but maybe I could try to do it and put it together into something and post as another YouTube video so that you guys could see it. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Easter, and I hope the weather is beautiful wherever you are. And I hope all that crazy weather in the US, the snow and the rain and everything where it shouldn't be, has stopped. So thank you guys so much. And I hope you made a little special prayer or wish, whatever floats your boat, on those little candles for somebody that you love, or maybe somebody that you lost. And I hope that you guys all have a special weekend. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you next week. Bye, guys.